To understand why fuel and octane ratings are important, we must first understand the basic process which occurs in an engine cylinder. First, the intake valve opens and the piston is lowered, allowing fuel and air to enter the cylinder. Next, the piston comes back up, compressing the fuel and increasing both the pressure and temperature. Then the spark plug is used to ignite the fuel. The combustion reaction forces the piston back down, and the work done on the piston is used to propel the car. The fuel is only supposed to combust while the piston is compressing it, right before the piston reaches its highest point. However, sometimes the fuel will combust at the wrong time and in the wrong place. This is called knocking. These uncontrolled combustion reactions can cause severe damage to engine parts because they can raise the pressure in the cylinder above levels various parts were designed to handle. If a car is knocking badly, it will be evident in a pinging sound produced by the engine. Knocking can be prevented by using a fuel with a higher octane rating. Octane ratings measure how resistant a certain fuel is to knock. A fuel with a low octane rating will combust easily, causing knock at lower pressures, whereas a fuel with a high octane rating can withstand a great combination of temperature and pressure before it combusts. The actual number assigned to the fuel is based on the combination of isooctane and heptane that has the same anti-knock properties. Isooctane is very resistant to knock and has an octane rating of 100. Heptane, on the other hand, is incredibly prone to knock and has an octane rating of 0. A fuel that is as resistant as 87% isooctane and 13% heptane is assigned an octane rating of 87, which is the octane rating of a regular gasoline. Mid-grade is 88 to 90 and 91 to 94 is premium. Higher performance vehicles need fuels with higher octane ratings because they compress the fuel-air mixture inside the cylinder more to achieve a more powerful explosion, which pushes on the piston with more force. Starting in the 1920s, the most common way of boosting octane ratings was to add tetraethyl lead, which dramatically increases octane rating in small amounts to gasoline. However, after more research was done on the health consequences of lead in the 1960s and 70s, leaded fuel was phased out and then eventually banned outright in 1996 for on-road vehicles. Airplanes and racing cars are still allowed to use leaded fuel, as their high-pressure engines demand fuel that is more resistant to combustion. Today, the most common additive to gasoline to increase the octane rating is ethanol, which is more resistant to knock than isooctane, with a rating of around 110. More than 95% of all fuel sold in the United States is composed of 10% ethanol. Finally, while many people believe that fuels with higher octane ratings will make their cars more powerful, this is not necessarily true. Car performance will only suffer in the case of knocking, which usually only occurs when a fuel with an octane rating below the recommended level for a certain car is used. Most car engines only require fuel with an octane rating of 87, meaning premium gas is unnecessary in most cars.
It is, however, important to make sure the fuel meets the minimum octane rating for the engine. Diesel fuel has an octane rating of around 15 because diesel engines do not compress their fuel. If diesel fuel is pumped into a regular car engine, there will be extreme knocking that will quickly result in the car engine being ruined. The reasons diesel is used despite its low octane rating are diesel has more energy per gallon than gasoline, diesel engines last longer than gasoline engines, and diesel engines require less maintenance. This presentation was brought to you by Suhaib Ansari, Clark Van Lieshout, and Jonathan Johnny Harvey.